Matt Williams is back in the headlines, and this time he hasn't held back, calling the Springboks 2021 Lions series an abomination and critiquing Rassie and the game plan they used.
The South African tour was the worst tour, the worst games of international rugby I think I've ever seen.
But Rassie has responded in one of the most Rassie ways possible with one tweet. We're going to be diving into this entire saga. Hopefully this is the last video I ever make on Matt Williams, because I think Rassie has put a nail in the coffin. If you haven't, please hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. Leave your opinions down in the comments and make sure to leave this video a like. Now, let's get into it. So to give you some context on this whole Matt Williams saga and where we are to this point today, what he was speaking about was the 2021 Lions series, and then spoke about the Lions compared to the Springboks at the moment. But to give you a little bit of context, the Springboks played the British and Irish Lions in 2021. It was something completely different that we've never seen before because it was COVID times. There was no one in the stadium. It was quite eerie. The Springboks hadn't played rugby in 18 months. They only had one warm-up game against Georgia leading in to that series against the British and Irish Lions, where the British and Irish Lions had many games against weaker franchise South African sides like the Bulls, Sharks and Stormers in the build-up to that series. This series was also probably one of the most controversial series because Rassie was the water boy. Rassie released a 1-hour breakdown of a game criticizing the referees' decisions. There was a lot of drama around that series. The Springboks, despite all of that, would come back to win the series 2-1 after losing that first test. And as a South African, I can remember exactly where I was. I was at the waterfront at one of those pubs when Mornay Steyn came on and kicked that winning penalty again against the British and Irish Lions for the Springboks to beat the Lions 2-1 in that series. So there was a lot of drama around all of that. And Matt Williams has now gone on to criticize how the Springboks played in 2021 and what makes the Lions so much better than the Springboks at the moment, and that the way that the Springboks play is an abomination. Now, to give you some even more context on who Matt Williams is as a pundit, as a rugby personality, he's a former Scotland coach and has never really been a fan of the Springboks and Springbok rugby. He's repeatedly slammed Rassie tactics, especially the 6-2 and 7-1 bench split, famously calling the bomb squad was against the spirit of the game. I don't know who decides what the spirit of the game is, but that's what he said. He's claimed Bok's style discriminates against backs and has even implied that it risks players' injury and health and well-being. He even blamed Stephen Kitshoff's neck injury when he was playing for, I think it was the Western Province or Stormers, either Currie Cup or URC. When Stephen Kitshoff had that neck injury, he blamed it on Springbok tactics and that the Springboks are too heavily focused on a scrum first obsession, and that's what led to Stephen Kitshoff's neck injury. These aren't casual takes from Matt Williams. There's a pattern here. He regularly positions himself as a moral compass of rugby, but a lot of fans and coaches think he's out of touch, and that's including me. So Matt Williams has been around criticizing the Springboks for almost 5 years now, saying some really outrageous things. Rassie has clapped back at him a little bit, but on his latest rant, I'm going to provide you all the context and then we're going to dive into exactly what Rassie said. So in his latest rant on Off the Ball, Williams went as far to say, the South African tour was one of the worst tours ever. The worst game of international rugby I think I've ever seen. And if we can find the clip, Liam, please put that clip in.
The South African tour was the worst tour, the worst games of international rugby I think I've ever seen. The way that both management teams, the off-field teams, conducted themselves was disgraceful. Rassie was running on the field as a water carrier. They were leaking videos about criticising referees, ringing people up. The style of rugby was an abomination.
He said the series was disgraceful, that Rassie running water and criticizing refs was against the spirit of the game, and he called the Bok tactics an abomination. Now, I can agree with him on the whole video that Rassie made going after the referees. World Rugby dealt with that, and Rassie hasn't done that since. That was probably over the line. But being the water boy and carrying that on, that wasn't against the rules. World Rugby have now changed the rules because of that. And him saying that the Bok tactics were an abomination, if you're winning a series 2-1, maybe the other team's style and tactics was the actual abomination because they didn't end up winning. But I digress. He contrasted it with the Lions' 2025 win in Australia, praising Andy Farrell's attacking coach, saying it restored the Lions' tarnished image. He literally said this: "The Lions are the keepers of the law. Like this is the Vatican and the Springboks are some kind of heroines." So I think it's fair to say that Matt Williams did not hold back on off the ball rugby podcast. A lot of these things I think he says just to get a reaction out of it, and he's busy getting a reaction, and this is why I'm saying this is going to be the last video that I think I ever make on Matt Williams, because he says things without backing it up. He's so biased in the way that he thinks is that he can't actually see it from the other side. He's so one-track minded and has such a hatred towards the Springboks and Springbok tactics and the who sort of can say what's in the spirit of the game or not. Here's my opinion on it before I get to Rassie Rasmus's response. Rugby is, at the moment, in the hands of the old heads. All the people in charge are quite old, and Rassie Rasmus has come in and has started innovating and changing the game of rugby that is completely different to where it was 10 to 15 years ago. People don't like change. And when someone like Rassie Rasmus comes in and disrupts and innovates, then people have a problem with that. But the only way we can move this game forward is through people like Rassie Rasmus. Through him winning 2 Rugby World Cups with the Springboks changes South Africa, whether it be for a day, whether it be for a week, whether it be for 4 years. Rugby is a bigger game in South Africa because it means more to the people. And if Rassie Rasmus has to go and innovate and change a couple of the rules and bend a couple of the rules and be that disruptor, then I'm all for it. But for Matt Williams to sit on his high horse and disregard what Rassie Rasmus is doing in the game of rugby is absolutely delusional, in my opinion. I think, yes, Rassie Rasmus can skirt that line between this is right and this is wrong, and sometimes he does get it wrong, and World Rugby clap back on him. But he continues, and he continues to try and innovate and elevate the game of rugby to get it to a place where we can get more people to watch it, to get it to a place where it can be as big as the Soccer World Cup maybe one day. So I love what Rassie Rasmus is doing for the game. And in the same vein, I'll look at it from the other side. We need people like Matt Williams criticizing people like Rassie Rasmus so that me as a content creator can make this video, we can engage in it and think, which side of the law do we kind of stand on it? Where do we want to see the game of rugby going? So now that my rant's done, what did Rassie Erasmus respond? In the most Rassie Erasmus way, he posted one tweet. He didn't host a press conference. He didn't even tag Matt Williams in the Twitter response. Here's what he said. He took a screenshot. He obviously Googled Matt Williams' record as a coach, which read 17 games, 3 wins, a 17.65% win percentage, and 2 of those games were against Japan and Samoa. He then captioned it with, "Heel Sir Matt." The most backhanded, low-effort, high-impact reply I've maybe ever seen out of Rassie Rasmus. But here's what he's saying. He didn't need to say much. All Rassie is going to say is, look at the trophy cabinets. There's your record. You saying what you want to say. Here's my record. And I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. But I think there's a bigger question at play here, and I'm hoping some of you guys will drop some comments and give me your opinions, is what kind of rugby do we value? Obviously, Matt Williams values fast-paced rugby that's all about risk, offloads, running backs, flair, where Rassie Rasmus, we can play that style of rugby. The Springboks are starting to play that style of rugby under Tony Brown and bringing in players like Manie Lebok and Sasha Feinberg and Gumazulu to do that. But I think at the end of the day, the Springboks want to play winning rugby. And if winning rugby is a little bit more tactical, if it's more forward dominant, if it does involve a few more scrums, then that's what the Springboks are going to play. Now, as myself, I'm a Springbok supporter. The Springboks don't pretend to be entertainers, but winning is entertaining, and winning for the country of South Africa is what this country needs. So yes, Rassie Rasmus's style of play is maybe a little bit boring for Matt Williams. That's not even suggesting the lineouts in the 22. The scrums, Damian Willems are calling a scrum. Manie Lebok kicking off and Andre Esterhuizen catching it. Andre Esterhuizen playing a hybrid model between 12 and 6 or 7 7. There's so many other ways that Rassie Erasmus is innovating this game that is interesting, rather than just running the ball and asking for some flair and not producing the results that the Springboks are producing. But I think we as fans need to decide what we value, as well as a guy like Matt Williams. We have to ask ourselves, if the British and Irish Lions were doing the same tactics that the Springboks were doing and they were winning, would his opinion be the same? Or does he just have such a biased view towards the Springboks that he can't see what this innovation and structure of play and style of play that Rassie Erasmus is trying to do? South Africa were the underdogs in the 2021 Lions series. They played the rugby they needed to play to win. It had a massive impact on the country. They went on to win the 2023 Rugby World Cup after winning it back in 2019. There's 2 World Cups, rugby championships, a Lions series in our trophy cupboard. So as a fan, that's the rugby I want to see. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Rassie Erasmus, this is why we love you. Thank you for clapping back at Matt Williams. Matt Williams, I'd love to have you on the show so that we could discuss this. You let me know. Let me know what your guys' opinions are down in the comments. Leave this video a like, and as always, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Peace.